According to the American College of Sports Medicine, 300,000 sports and recreation-related concussions are diagnosed nationwide each year. But the actual number, including those that are not reported, is 7 times more than that. Everyone is susceptible to concussions, especially those who partake in physical and recreational activities. And if you are unaware of the symptoms and dangers of concussions, you may be unaware if you have received one and the risk you take by not being educated. Being a former athlete, as well as the son of a former coach and athletic director, and knowing now what I know today about concussions, I would like to educate others so that they realize the potential dangers they risk by being uneducated on the matter. Due to the lack of most people's education on the topic, I will spend some time today helping you understand the likelihood and dangers of concussions, the treatments for concussions, and how to better prevent the occurrence of concussions. To better understand concussions, you must first know the dangers and the seriousness of the issue. According to the Center of Disease Control, there is an estimated 1.6 to 3.8 million concussions in the United States every year, leading the CDC to conclude that concussions in the United States have reached an epidemic level. The first impact that causes a concussion usually leads to a mix of all these symptoms, or maybe just some of these symptoms. Dizziness, confusion, fogginess, vomiting, headaches, slurred speech, loss of consciousness, a vacant stare, delayed answers to questions, being easily distracted, disorientation to time and place, emotionally out of proportion for the circumstance, and amnesia. Not all of these symptoms occur within the first hit, within the first impact. Some of them can occur minutes to even days after the first impact occurs. After the first concussion occurs, you become more susceptible to get another concussion, which in turn can cause what is known as second impact syndrome. Second impact syndrome occurs when an athlete returns to play before the symptoms from the first impact have cleared, and the person receives a second impact. The second impact causes massive swelling in the brain. This then leads to compression of the brain within the skull. In severe circumstances, the brain is squeezed through small holes within the skull, known as herniation. Herniation leads to decreased blood flow to the brain and ultimately to severe brain damage or even death. Now that you better understand the seriousness of the issue, you need to understand how to treat a concussion when one occurs, because without proper treatment, the seriousness of the issue increases. According to the Center of Disease Control website, due to the fact that concussion is a head injury, all are serious and all need to be treated immediately. The first thing you do when you notice someone suffering from signs of a concussion is you need to remove them from activity and play immediately. After that, you need to make sure the person is evaluated by a healthcare professional. Then make sure the person's guardian or spouse is aware of the concussion and the dangers. Finally, you need to keep the person from activity until the healthcare professional has said that they are okay to return and that all of their symptoms are clear. Now that you've taken the person out of activity, you need to make sure that you treat them at home as well. Make sure the person is getting the proper amount of sleep, as well as giving them medicine to soothe and relieve the symptoms. The most important information, in my opinion, you can learn is how to better prevent the occurrence of concussions. In my opinion, as well as my dad, a former head football coach and the athletic director at Bauxite High School, the best way to prevent a concussion is to have an action plan ready and make sure everyone knows about concussions, as well as using proper equipment and other safety precautions ahead of time. First and foremost, you need to make sure that all of your equipment is up to date and have no breaks or damages to them that could cause problems later. So you need to check the helmet, you need to check all the other equipment. From Doug Quinn's experience as a head football coach, during the course of a season, 4 of his players' helmets cracked from collisions. Be sure to check the equipment at least once a month, but even more frequently during the season or during rigorous amounts of use. The next thing you need to do is make sure you're taught the proper technique, thus taking much of the head out of the equation and using more of your body. If you lean into contact with your head first, the person is more prone to get a concussion, as well as other neck and head-related injuries. You now have the proper knowledge on how to better protect yourself, as well as those around you, and how to take care of the trauma if it occurs. Now that you're better educated on concussions, how to properly treat them, and how to prevent them, it's your turn to educate others of the seriousness of the issue. Now remember, without proper knowledge, treatment, and prevention, the rate of concussion-related injuries as well as deaths will continue to rise each year. So work to better protect yourself as well as those around you.